Although investigating in the dark is a typical practice of most teams, there are those who find it unnecessary, such as the members of ISIS Investigations, a spirit investigating witches coven from New York.
We found that spirits don't care what time it is. Most people miss the things that happen during the day because they're so wrapped up in the mundane, getting ready to go to work, get the kids off to school. So when little things happen, they don't even pay attention. At night when they go to lay down and get comfortable and everything is quiet, that's when they notice things. But that doesn't mean it's the only time that it happens. So we do a lot, 90% of are done in the daytime, and we usually always get evidence. So.
The daylight investigations and the fact that they're witches is not the only traits that make ISIS Investigations unique. They are also completely comprised of mediums. To find out if this type of demographic and technique has any bearing on the evidence collected, we decided to follow ISIS on an investigation here at the old Knox Mansion in Johnstown, New York. This large neoclassic 42-room Victorian estate was once the home of Charles and Rose Knox, creators of the famous Knox Gelatin Company. Various reports throughout the years tell of mysterious sightings of the deceased Knox family, strange voices, footsteps, and fragile items in the home being inexplicably broken.
Good sign.
What's the significance?
Well, hawk is messengers from the gods, and raven is messengers from the dead. Well, gonna go up and ask him if it's okay if we start?
Yeah. I'll be right back.
While Patricia and Dana contact the owner of the home, the rest of the team prepares for the investigation, unaware of what might await them inside.
Yeah, when you enter the door, this is the room you'll be in.
Yeah, and we do 1, 2, then skip the library, 3.
Yeah, you
4,
gotta skip the library.
5, 5, and then we'll take a break, okay?
Yeah, you start with the gold.
Hello.
Hey, darling, how are you?
Good.
Gold room, so...
Hey, Marty, this is Justin,
Hello.
Satish, Robin, Angela. We don't want them to get preconceived notions. Right.
Okay.
They always go in cold. Okay, guys, let's go.
So gold room first, Pat? Gold room first?
None of the mansion's history or details of the haunting, however, are given to the team prior to the investigation. They are also instructed to investigate the mansion's library last. This is done to avoid any preconceived opinions which may contaminate any evidence collected by the group. After entering the mansion and unpacking their equipment, the investigation began. One of the first rooms investigated was the gold room, named for the 18-karat gold scrolling which lines the ceiling. Several members of the investigation team made claims to sensing the presence of a woman and possibly a small child, which they believe occupy the room.
It was hard to get like a solid image because there was so much and the house was filled with so much stuff, but that is where I picked up an image of like not a child, but a youngish woman and then a young male child there, like around the piano. And I also picked up on, a Native American woman, but that wasn't something that we were able to verify with any of the research afterwards.
The images Angela picked up on were not only verifiable through the home's history, they were also sensed by another member of her team at a different point during the investigation.
If there was any object in that room that she was most close to, it was the piano. But to say that the piano and her are connected to the house, or she's just connected to the piano and the piano is not from the house, it was hard to differentiate or discern at that moment.
Although claims of activity in the gold room were not able to be documented scientifically, they were reinforced by other team members who claimed to have had temperature fluctuations in and around the piano area.
Actually, when I first came in here, I had a pretty good fluctuation in front of the piano. It stayed consistent the whole time, but then I got really hot and it sprung right up to 28 to 32 Celsius, and then it went back down. It was normal the rest of the entire time.
Directly adjacent to the gold room is the mansion's dining room, also the subject of synonymous psychic impressions. Here, 3 members of the team felt the presence of a maid staff that used to work at the mansion.
When we got to the dining room, I said, I do sense the history of this room. It reminds me of like maids walking around. And right below it, I wrote down that I feel a sense of sadness in the room, and the word loss came into my mind. I'm not sure what kind of loss. And my first guess was I thought there was a loss of a young girl in this room. I'm not so sure. And then as we did the history, yes, that's what I felt. And because, again, we went in cold, we didn't know what the history of the house was. And then after the history was done, we realized that she did have, children that did pass away very early. And Angela and I were just talking about this, and we were thinking that for a very wealthy family, the burden of looking after the kids probably fell on the kitchen help, and the maids and so forth. And they probably would feel sad being more connected to the child if the child does pass away.
Well, especially in this family, because both the parents were very, very active business people, and it more so for the time than a different type of, stay-at-home mom. Rose wasn't a stay-at-home mom. She was helping with the business a great deal of time, so the staff were probably more involved with the child rearing.
Yeah, I also noted maids in that room. I sensed someone putting linen away after doing the daily laundry, and I felt like she had bumped my hip, telling me to get out of the way so that she can get into the drawers.
I had a similar experience where I felt almost like when you're in a crowded room and somebody just kind of like nudges you a little, and you know that they're there, but there was no one else around. It was over by the window benches in that same area.